Hi everyone, my name is Sundar. I'm the only thing standing between you and the photographs, the drinks, and dinner. So I hope I can make this exciting. But I want to talk to you a little bit today about the Ramayana. Who here is familiar with the story of the Ramayana and the story of Rama? Okay, 100%, right? Those with hands down are just too tired after all the croaker this morning. How many of you know the detailed story of Ravana from when he was a child all the way through? Some people. I need to come to you and learn that because there isn't a story of Ravana that exists from when he was a kid all the way up. So today I want to share with you a little bit about my personal story, basically a journey that began with, can you advance the slides please? A journey that began really in a place of struggle, okay? Virtus in arguis. It means what? Truth and struggle. Anybody else? Virtue conquers hardship. Virtue in perseverance. Absolutely, sir. Thank you. And so, eventually, the hardships that I was involved with led me to a place where I discovered the power of creativity. And in my case, it was storytelling as a way to heal myself. And like many of you, I went through phases in life where everything seemed really wonderful on the surface. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. So I initially started off my career fortunate to go through TV and therefore to get into then the College of Engineering Guindy, following folks like Vineet Ram, who was one of my mentors and great coaches, and others. And then I worked for Microsoft, I did a startup in the services space, but internally I was really battling feelings of pretty intense anxiety and depression. Okay? So it crept in slowly. It filled my days with an unease, my nights with some restlessness, okay? And at first it felt personal failure, like I couldn't handle what the world was throwing at me. Somehow I couldn't handle it and it was me. So I found ways to distract myself. I literally became a workaholic as a way to avoid even facing those feelings, right? Feeling the emotions. And so, but just like the stories of Rama and Karna, and Saint John Bosco, we all found ourselves in different ways at a crossroads, right? A call to adventure. And this is where the concept of the hero's journey comes into the picture. All of us usually start off in a place where everything is idyllic, everything is wonderful. Maybe we are children, our parents are taking care of us. Or maybe we are in a good situation where the status quo, right, is really good. But then there is a call to adventure. There's an instigating event. Something happens in our lives. The world throws us a curveball, right? And after that, we may say, oh, I'm too afraid to tackle this. I'm too afraid to face this. And that's where I was initially. But then we meet the mentor. In my life, starting off with, my mother, my grandmother, who told me these wonderful stories from Itihasas, Puranas, Ramayana, etc., about heroes, heroines, and so on. But also ranging in school from our teachers. I'll mention again Ranjit and Vineet, who are just amazing in terms of being role models for me in table tennis and studies. But also, I'll go into my own batch and talk about the people who were mentors and role models to me during this journey itself. People like Ram Bhatt, Jeetu, Shankar Kutat and his wife Divya, right? Rex Anand, Vishy Anand, who took the time to read my entire manuscript. He was the second person to read my book after my mother. So I know I'm leaving out a lot of people, but my Kung Fu teachers, for example, people who really supported me in my journey. And what I want to share with you is when we find that mentor, find that right person, right, then we're able to cross the threshold. And that's the threshold of saying, I'm going to meet this challenge, right? There are tests, there might be allies, there might be enemies on this road. And the inmost case is the place of where we encounter the first big challenge and we face it. Then we go through an ordeal. That's where we transform. There is some reward. It could be the Holy Grail, it could be the elixir, it could be getting into the college of our dreams. It could be marrying, finding the right person, it could be starting a family. And the road back is coming back to the ordinary world, but we are transformed in that process. So this is what is called the hero's journey, or the heroine's journey. It's popularized by Mr. Joseph Campbell, Dr. Joseph Campbell, who was an advisor to George Lucas in the Star Wars trilogy. He was a famous American sociologist, and he also spoke about comparative mythologies. So the call to adventure for me was to begin with writing. I've always had a major love for stories. I was a voracious reader thanks to our teachers like Master Silvadare, Mrs. Sarah Paul, who was my English teacher. They encouraged us to read above and beyond what was in our state board curriculum. And I'm somebody who just loves words, who loves the feelings that they evoke within me. I began researching Itihasa, Ramayana and Mahabharata based on just the stories that I've heard all my life, and it gave me an amazing sense of calm and joy. I consciously made the decision to devote time to my new passion. So whatever darkness I felt within was like a storm, and my writing became the sailboat in which I was traversing the storm, and there was light on the horizon. I could see the sun at the end of the journey. But all of us know that we have to go through the storm. There's no going around the storm, is there? There's no chance of saying, I'm going to avoid the storm and somehow avoid it and get to the light somehow. We have to walk through the fire to get to what we want. So in many ways, my journey mirrored this. I'm not saying I'm a hero, but I went through these challenges. A call to leave the ordinary world, to cross the threshold to the unknown, and to confront the trials. But as I read, researched, and wrote, a particular story took hold of me. This is the story of Ravan in Ramayana. I'm one of those guys who always was very intrigued by the villain. I always thought Duryodhana was an interesting character to go deep and understand. Ravan especially. And so my first book is called Ravan's Trial. Please advance the slide. Oh, actually I can do it here. Let me see. There we go. So I worked on researching and creating a whole world. This is Naraka. So I took the 14 worlds of Indian cosmology, made it into continents. And this continent has Asuras, Rakshasas, Vidyadharas, Kinnaras, Nagas on it. These are all the people that we call the bad guys, right? These are the bad people. And the Devas are supposed to be the good people. But what if the opposite is actually true? What if history were written from the perspective of these civilizations? So Ravan's Trial is my first book in my series, The Naraka Cycle. And in this reimagined mythological world of Naraka, Ravan's journey into the jungle and the trials he faces became the reflection of my own journey, my own internal journey. So just like me, Ravan actually in my book starts out really burdened by the expectations of family, his kingdom. He's weighed down by the enormity of his situation, which is the bad Devas have invaded his land. So in my initial books, the Devas are the villains, and the Asuras and so on are the heroes. He feels the call to greatness, Ravan, but at the same time he's plagued by doubt, fear, and overwhelming need to prove himself. And in Ravan I saw my own struggles. He becomes a reluctant hero through battling, in the story, supernatural creatures, the jungle, overcoming his doubts. He learns to find his strength. Now it became a way for me, writing became a way for me to process my own inner demons. And it's a very powerful thing. I'll wrap up quickly here by saying a mentor certainly can be a human being. And as I've told you, so many mentors in my life. But the art of writing itself became a mentor to me. And during that process, I called upon my own higher self, with a capital S, to come and heal the inner child. So it became a journey, yes, of self-exploration, but also calling upon the art itself to come and heal me. And so that was a powerful process for me. Now all of us are faced with my DB brothers, my teachers, my respected teachers. See, the thing is that we all have an area that we can express ourselves and devote ourselves to and fall in love with it. It could be learning a new musical instrument. It could be starting a family that are at that point. It could be starting a company, right? It could be learning a new sport. And the hero's journey is a journey that all of us have to go through to face that. So the important thing is find that means of self-expression. I'll leave you with this thought. Please find that means of self-expression. That creative space where you can really express yourself, your emotions, and transform them into something truly meaningful to you. And automatically the people around you will be impacted in a beautiful way. so, as we reconnect today, it's been such a lovely day. I'll wrap up. I encourage each of you to embrace your own journey of passion. They say the Greek philosopher Plato started to learn a musical instrument in his 80s, right? And new research in neuroscience tells us that neuroplasticity continues well into our 90s. In other words, neurogenesis, new neurons are formed, connections are formed. So there is no end to this process. So I just want to say, Virtus in Arduis is a slope that started to become such an important one, a motto that I had to implement in my own life to go through this journey, find myself, heal myself, and then share. So let me see if I can get the next slide, and just in terms of giving you the good news. So in my series, That's Ravan, so it's reimagining. There's some art work. So some supernatural creatures, that's Ravan, by the way. He faces various challenges in the Aranya. My first book is Ravan's Trial. My second book is Demons and Their Gods. They're both on Amazon. Please connect. Thank you again for your time. Much love to you all.